Hello, I am good, thanks. So, this one is all about hands-free live looping and using a predefined song structure in Ableton. I came up with this project to jam with my friends, generate song ideas, and chill. Quick disclaimer before we start. These videos are mainly meant to share ideas and creative processes. Although they are planned to have some tutorial quality to them, my main objective is to share my ideas and ways of making noise as transparent as possible, and I give all the data away to let anyone experience things at least close to how I do. This one's going to smell like what you are smelling right now. Thanks and have fun. The live project has 2 MIDI channels for a synthesizer, an instrument channel feeding a direct channel, as well as 3 separate looper channels, and 2 buses for master reverbs and echoes. My first focus was to plug my instrument in, set up my hardware or software synthesizer, press play and loop my soul instantly. I didn't really want it to be complicated and flexible so that I don't get lost tweaking things around. So, yes, look at the individual channels. Oh, sure, yes. The principle behind all this is really simple. The first MIDI channel has the bass notes or chords. They are predefined and used to form vintage drone sounds from my microcog in this case. Second MIDI channel is generating scaled and random MIDI notes and sending them to the first channel as MIDI. There are a bunch of knobs I left to myself to tweak. The external instrument plugin on the first MIDI channel sends all the MIDI data to hardware synthesizer and getting the stereo audio signal back. Since microcog's polyphony is limited to 4 voices, I send 2 notes from each channel. I set up my synths this way especially for live situations where I want to play my guitar freely and tweak only a few knobs to control the whole tension and the arrangement of my music. Then, there are the guitar channels. The structure seems and sounds like it's complicated, but it's really simple when you are in Ableton. There is one direct stereo channel for guitar, which goes direct to guitar group mixdown. The other 3 channels are all loopers and they work hands-free by automation. These 3 channels predefines the weight and the progress of the arrangement. Here is my first jam with the project. In this take, I'm using guitar pedal noises to make kick, snare and percussion sounds and manipulate the microcog live. If you want to skip live parts, the chapter index is down below. I will explain the channel and chain details after first take. I wasn't really planning to play sliced noise as percussion. It was a momentary impulse generated by a simple mistake while plugging my instruments in. Sounded nice to me, and I went on with it. So, I needed to fix and mix that channel before I went on with my guitar. I used two VCA compressors, before and after a drum bus plugin, which I use for generating sub-harmonic frequencies around my bass note A, and saturating the signal a little bit. Then I needed to tame the clicks even further. What a day to be alive. Anyways, I also wanted to take a peek at some transformer saturation, in the name of the beautiful frequencies I lost along my mixing journey. Nothing was helping, so I decided to go nuts. Threw up a Pro Q on the committed Percussion channel, and worked the hell out of it. Just after committing, I wanted to emphasize the unexpected 4x4 groove in my 5x4 project, while trying to fresh up the whole mix. Sidechaining the Wet FX group, recorded while I perform, and organized the project for guitar recording session. After saving the project in a different name and committing the microcog session, I decided to recreate the guitar tracks and do the looper record automations from scratch. First I created the direct channel. Then I created 3 more tracks and get their input signals from the direct channel and set all the monitoring to in. All the loopers monitoring modes should be switched to never for this project. Then I grouped all 4 channels for the guitar and tossed an optical compressor on top. A few interface adjustments and I'm done. Oh, yes. Here are the loop automations. I won't get into detail with Ableton's looper, but as you see at the right side, the state parameter can be automated like this and can be used hands-free. These automations are happening in different times than the percussion loop channels. The percussion was in 4x4 signature and looped as 5x4. This is why I'm planning to play and loop something that is in 5x4 signature to emphasize the real edges of the polyrhythm. And just before my guitar session, I want to point out that I got the microcog MIDI channels back from the previous projects and deleted all the instruments and chains in it, leaving only the randomized expression control to tweak the knobs of the vintage tape simulation on the master channel. Every time a note hits for microcog, 6 parameters of the tape simulation changes. Weird flavor, I must say. Oh, by the way, yes. I prepared a little Binaural FX device and grouped all the channels I like to hear through binaural beating. I did the device using Ableton's stock frequency shifter, but I encourage you to try out other frequency shifters as well. I prepared the macro knobs for shifting from 0 to 20 Hz. That's my brain's taste. I won't get into the scientific discussions or arguments about this. What I hear and perceive interests me more, actually. In addition to this constant frequency tweakable chain, I added a drifting version which is shifting the binaural frequency in a desired rate and desired intensity by an LFO. I was about to start playing and at the last moment, I realized that I forgot a bunch of things. I put down my guitar the second time and got back to Ableton. I first made a 5x4 rhythm from stock Clove samples to be comfortable and not to be distracted by the standard Ableton clicks. I made it emphasize the 1s and the 4s. Then I adjusted tape machine's maximum and minimum parameter change values. I added sidechain compression on the looper tracks and chained them to the clave track. Just about now I started to like what the click track is doing in this arrangement, and I decided to leave it in the song after mixing it a little bit. I did more editing on the percussion recording to emphasize the 5x4 rhythm a little more. I distributed hard-hitting kicks on ones when a looper is recording. I also added a huge tail reverb on a return bus to space out the stop moments of the loopers, followed by the drawing of send automations for looper channels. I added some room reverb to the claves. I needed a nice filter I can use live to cover my synth channels and my guitar loop channels to be able to control their presence against my direct guitar and the rhythm tracks, and I changed the channel hierarchy to work this way. I want to play now. See you soon. So, this take gives a better view of how you can be free of pressing the pedals of loopers and concentrate more on your music. It's a little weird and tricky to get used to be automatically looped. I must admit that pressing pedals was making me more alert and ready for what's coming next. But the challenge here is so fun and useful for developing musical memory, in my opinion. Since this piece won't be presented as a live recording, I carelessly edit the ideas came from the jam session. Trying to make meaning out of random recordings and turning them into a production is my favorite hobby these days. To mix this new recording, I can just use the direct guitar recording and have full control over the loopers individually, again and again. Every time I play the whole project from start, loopers will automatically record the exact same loops coming from the direct channel. This is the biggest benefit of setting up the loopers this way. Anyways, if I'm feeling lazy, or don't have any issues with my 3 loopers, I can use the looper group track, which is also recorded live, including a mixdown of 3 looper tracks without the bus effects. Since I'm not feeling lazy, I went on with reprinting separate looper tracks from the direct channel. First, I cut out the parts that I didn't like at all. Second, I chose the bits that could be nice to be heard again in the arrangement and moved them to places. Just about then I was ready to consolidate, freeze and merge channels. So I did, and reorganized the hierarchy more like a mix project. Automated the frequency shift all around the song and distributed the binaural chain to separate channels. More editing on the clicks and guitars was necessary. I did a reversed match EQ between microcog and guitar group. Used X-click on guitar channels and made them smoother just before subtly saturating them. After that I treated guitars the way they should be treated. At last, I added and automated some return effects, messed around with the master channel, and called it a day, just seconds before my girlfriend left me. Apart from the guilt I feel at that moment, technically, I had a little bit more time to mess with this final result while I was grieving, and I quickly hard mapped the stem channel volumes between -8 and +6 dB to APC, and I wrote the stems real time, the way I please. I leave you with the final result now, and want to remind you that all these files, projects, devices, samples, loops and digital instruments seen here is on my Patreon page for download. All the details are in the description. See you soon, I'm out, thanks.